Hello, our friend, and welcome back to another episode of Life in Black and White. Today, we're speaking to another amazing guest, Julia Boccio, who is a rom-com writer, but it's not always what she's been doing. She started as a copywriter, then she worked as a photographer, and now she's a writer. So it's kind of like big jumps, or is that the right word to say, like in careers? And I know lots of people face the same challenge, or is it the challenge? A situation, and they're perhaps not sure whether it's the right thing to do if they want to change careers. They may be scared, they have lots of questions. So today we're speaking to Julia to maybe help you get some clarity and answer some of your questions that you have. So hi, Julia.
Hello, how are you?
Thank you. We're very well. It's nice, positive energy here, which is amazing. So yeah, let's talk about your story. I mentioned that you started as a copywriter, but let's go back a bit and fill us in your story.
No problem. So I was born in New Jersey, and to an Italian father and an American mother, and I moved to the UK in the late 90s when I was in my early 20s. And a couple of years after that, I met my now husband, and we are about to celebrate our 20th anniversary.
Oh my God. How does that feel?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's gone long, and it's gone fast, and it's been, long at the same time.
Yeah, we get it.
But yeah, no, we have two kids and young kids, and yeah, so when I first moved over here, I got a job pretty quickly as a pharmaceutical copywriter in advertising. And for those that don't know what a copywriter is, it's somebody who writes the words. So when you see an ad, you usually have two people who work on it, an art director and a copywriter. So that's what I did. And I was lucky to get a job quickly because finding good copywriters has always been tough. So I managed to get that quickly. I already had experience from America. And I did that for 8, 9 years, something like that. And then I went traveling in South America.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, well, no, when did I do that? Yeah, no, I went traveling in South America. And while I was in South America, I sort of fell in love with photography because, I mean, it's hard to take a bad picture in South America because there's just so much beauty and so much color. It's absolutely amazing. But when I got back to the UK, I decided to retrain as a photographer on the side. So I kept my job as a copywriter, which is my MO. I think I always like to know that I have the skills before I make a change. So I retrained on the side, and then when I felt like I was ready to make the leap, I became a photographer. And thankfully, my husband he supported me through that. So I remember I actually have the date marked in my diary of the day. We sat in the car and I said to him, I really want to leave my copywriting job. I want to be a photographer. Wow. And we agreed I would do it in September, I think, but I couldn't wait. So I did it in June.
I love that.
The feeling came upon me and I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
And off I went.
Wow.
And I did that for 15 years.
Oh, wow. I'm curious, how did it feel the first few months, say, because it's not that, you change career and you start earning immediately. So it must have been pretty scary, wasn't it?
Well, my husband, thankfully, had a corporate job, and my mother-in-law is actually a marketing trainer. And I had a degree in marketing, and I'd been in advertising for, however long. And so I understood branding and things like that. So I came out of the traps with a really strong brand. And I think that is important. I didn't want to look like I was somebody who was just starting out. So I created a brand that looked like I knew what I was doing, even though I was learning on the job. But I think that the power of a good brand is so incredibly important, especially these days. And so there was that. And then also he encouraged me to write a business and marketing plan, which I think is something I'd never done before, but it was definitely it was one of the best things I did, because you need to sit down, you need to work out exactly what your goals are, but then you need to figure out how you're going to reach those goals, and you have to be specific about it. So you can't just say, I want to book 10 weddings, you then have to say, okay, how am I going to book those 10 weddings?
Yeah.
So it was really good because it really changed my mindset and how I thought about things. It stirred the entrepreneur in me, who I think was always in there. She was always in there, and now you can't put her back in the box. So
Yeah, of course. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love
um,
that. So having your husband's support make a huge difference.
I did, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Not just because he was supporting me, like putting food in my mouth, but also because he was,
No, no, no. Yeah, of course, of course. That's what I
yeah,
meant. Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
he
yeah.
was also just, helping me understand the business side of.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's very interesting that when you change career, that you need to know what you're doing, that you need to have a plan, because I think this is where lots of people, I don't want to say fail, it's not a failure, but I think they have very unrealistic expectations and they feel,
Mm.
oh, when I do this is going to be so much better now and it's going to be amazing. And then they're like, oh, actually, it's not as, it's not all a bed
I'll
of
save that
roses.
for my next career. That's my next career in a nutshell.
Ah, brilliant. Okay, so you started photography, you did it for 15 years.
Yeah.
How did you feel in it? Did you mix
Yeah,
copywriting?
it was fantastic. I mean, I worked hard. I started out in weddings and that was great. I became, one of the top, wedding photographers in
Wow.
the country. And then I got tired of that. And as this was happening, my husband was kind of getting tired of his job as well. And he had a friend who had worked on Lord of the Rings. And they were both looking for change. So they decided they were going to go into the movie business, as you do.
Yeah.
So I actually wrote a film for them called All Bar Love. You'll never see it. Actually, no, we might put it up on Vimeo. We might put it up if we can find the tapes. It's not good, but it is actually better than some of the tripe that Netflix is making these days.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, anyway, so they decided to do that. We made a film while I was a photographer, and I was like the on-set photographer and the writer. But yeah, so they made a film, and they were really excited about it. And this was back in, say, 2006, 2007, and they started pitching to companies about creating content that would run alongside films, which now we do all the time. Social media,
Right.
they were ahead of their time. And
Yeah.
the world wasn't ready for it yet. And then the
Yeah.
recession happened. And they had some investment lined up, but of course the investment came from the area that was hit most, hedge funds, all that kind of stuff, bankers, and they lost it. So overnight, he had already given up his job in tech, and he was now committed to doing this other job as a film producer, and yeah, it all kind of fell to pieces. So I said to him, "Why don't you come work with me for a bit?"
Yeah.
Because my husband is the best salesman I've ever met. I mean, he
Wow.
could sell ice to Eskimos.
Wow.
Really could.
That's a skill, yeah.
Yeah, and so he came on board, and that was when we decided to open up a photography studio. So we did the numbers and realized that, because of course, we like to be prepared. We did our
Yeah.
numbers, we wrote a plan, and we realized that it was very viable. And so we did it. We got the premises and set it all up. We had staff, all kinds of things. And off we went, and we worked together for 7 years. And having my husband work in a family photography business was like having a sledgehammer to bang nails. But but he helped me build it, and we got to a point where we were the company that if you lived in Mayfair, you lived in Chelsea, you called us. Our clients were famous people. They were royalty from other countries. But I did actually photograph the Queen as well. So we were doing well. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Really good.
amazing.
And I was winning awards as well, so I won Children's Photographer of the Year a couple times, and yeah, so I was very much, we were doing well. And then my husband turned to me one day and said, "Julia, if I have to sell one more newborn photo, I'm going to kill myself." And so I said, "Well, we can't have that." So he left the company. I mean, we kind of phased him out over a couple of years, and he went back into tech, earning a proper wage again. And then, I was sort of on my own, and I continued to run the company, but then we did IVF so I could have my second child. And and you know, I was, and a studio is a really unwieldy beast. It's very hungry, you know,
Right.
and even though I had clients who were spending, you know, thousands of pounds at a pop,
Yeah.
you know, there was a lot of overheads, and it was a lot to be raising a young child and running this
Yeah.
business on my own, even though I had, you know, a good team with me. And then my studio manager told me she was moving back to Canada, and that was kind of like the nail in the coffin for me, because I was
Yeah.
like, I can't do this if I don't have her, because she was,
Yeah.
I didn't have the energy to find another good person to fill the job. And my poor son had spent the first 6 months of his life, you know, staring up at me from the floor of the studio while I was working. So I decided to close the physical studio, and then I started running it from home and with all of my employees as satellites. So they would be at their homes as well. So I was running it the same. I would just rent a studio when I needed it. And I did that for 3 years, and it was tiring. It was really,
Yeah.
it was very
Yeah.
tiring. And also I was working with there were some very lovely people, but there are also some very entitled people. And I just, it didn't sit well with me, you know. When people are, you know, haggling with you over £1,000 when they had just told you how they rented the suites at some hotel while they were in the final months of their pregnancy, instead of living at home because it was just too much, you know. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I was done. I was done with that. But I wasn't sure what I was going to do next at that point. I'd always wanted to be a writer. Before I was a copywriter, I had taken writing classes in university. You know, even when I was a little girl, I would write. You know, in one of my classes at university, my teacher, I wanted to take an extra writing class that technically I wasn't allowed to take, so I had to get his permission. And I had to go get him to fill in this form. And he said to me, he said, Julia, I have no doubt that you're going to write the great American novel one day, but no more of these wizarding stories. Because I had written a wizarding story in his class, the semester before. And I kid you not, a year later, Harry Potter comes out.
Oh my God. Chandler would say, sure.
Yeah.
Teachers don't know everything, right? You know, but anyway, yeah. So that's when I decided I was going to fulfill my dream of being a writer. So I closed down the studio and stopped taking photographs. And funnily enough, I have barely picked up my camera since then.
Really?
It was 2019.
Wow.
Good timing, by the way, just before the pandemic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like I was really done with that. You know, and I still keep in touch with a lot of people in the photography industry, and they still, I think, are a little bit shocked that I basically walked away when I was still at the height of my game.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know,
Do you feel that it needs to be, or you needed to be at the point where you were kind of done before you took that additional kind of leap? Was that the kind of the force?
I think so. I think I was done. I hit the wall. I hit the wall.
Right.
You know, I'd had just a few clients who kind of sent me around the bend. And I was just tired. I was ready for a new challenge. You know, I'm a creative person. I've always made my living via my creativity. And I think that I've got like a 10 to 15 year sort of limit on any sort of career before I'm like, okay, what's next? And yeah, so that's when I rekindled my idea of being a writer. So I was actually having coffee with another photographer, and I had this idea about writing romances about photographers because it was an area I knew really well. And I was having coffee with her, and she said, I told her this, and she said, oh, you want to be the Jilly Cooper of photography? And I said, yes, that's exactly it. And I kid you not, in that moment, the title of my first book came to me, which was Shooters, you know, kind of a play on Riders.
Yeah.
And the entire plot for a 3-book structure came to me with characters and everything. And it was literally that fast. Because I'd been struggling about what to write, and, you know, it just came to me, and then I was ready.
Yeah.
Let's get going.
Yeah.
Your network is very broad, right? If you've had the copywriting thing, you've had the photography, the people that you've touched within your life, is that your support base? Is that where you kind of, not just inspiration for your photography thing, but is there, were those connections able to kind of help propel your movement in what you wanted to do?
100%. So, here's where it all comes together. So I wrote my first book over the pandemic, and I did a course while I was doing it, Curtis Brown course, which was fantastic. Really helped me hone the book and hone my craft. And I think that in some part of me chose to write in the photography field because I knew a lot of photographers, and it gave me interesting options as far as marketing goes. So when I was ready to launch my first book, which I ended up self-publishing, by the way, because I did have an agent and it was shopped around to publishers. One of the most painful processes you can ever go through. I came very close, but it just didn't find a home. So I decided to self-publish. And it's really hard to market as a self-publish, especially, from a standing start. So what I did was I reached out to a bunch of my photography friends, and I asked them if they would take pictures of themselves with my book. And I didn't mean like pictures on their phones, like, hey, I meant like pictures of themselves. Actual, amazing pictures,
Right.
And so I mailed them each a copy of the book, and then I kind of waited to see what was going to come back, because I was like just hoping that they got the brief, that they understood what I was looking for. And then they started coming in and they got the brief. And what I did with those pictures was, on the morning of my launch, I had put together a social media and like an announcement reel with all the pictures in it. And at 8 o'clock on the launch day of my book, everybody who was involved in the project posted their picture across all their social media. And I posted the pictures on my social media. And these are people like, these were big names in the photography industry. So people like Jerry Guionis, Kelly Brown, people with like thousands and thousands and thousands of followers,
Wow.
And so, I mean, it literally exploded all over the internet. If you didn't see shooters that day in your social media, then, and anyway, the sales were good. And I got onto loads of bestseller lists in the UK and in the US from that one day. And that was it. So then I repeated that for each of the books in the series.
Amazing.
And
Wow.
went from there. So yes, I definitely used my network that I had built up over the years.
I self-published a book about motherhood as well, but we'll talk about it after. I don't want to put a spotlight on me. Wow. I love the way you think that, because lots of people stop. They see, including myself, at times, that you see this is hard or this doesn't work, but you're looking for ways to make it work. Okay, how can I? That's so inspirational.
Well, I'm a goal setter. And I think that, I've got ADHD, definitely, and possibly a touch of autism as well. And so when I set a goal, I'm very focused on it. So when I became I wanted to be an award-winning copywriter. I did that. I wanted to be an award-winning photographer. I did that. Now my goal is I want to be a six-figure author.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you will?
I have a ways to go, but I promise you I will do it.
I know. I don't doubt it at all.
I love this.
Wow.
I love this.
And this, I think there is no questions needed. Like, what would you advise someone? Because your story and the way you talk and your energy answers so many questions. No, it's like motivation in itself just to listen to you. So thank you. No, really. So now, how long has it been since you published your first book?
So it's been almost exactly, what's the date? The 12th. I think it might be exactly 2 years, actually. Wow. So it was beginning of March 2023 that I published Shooters, and now I've got 4 books out, and my 5th book is out on submission to publishers again, which is a whole nother can of worms. So
and so how do you feel in this job? Is it the job?
It is a job, 100%. Yeah, this is.
How do you feel in it?
I'm an entrepreneur again, it's just a different product. I feel this is definitely the hardest thing I've ever tried to do. Publishing is hard. You do not go into it to get rich, really.
Yes.
You know, it's there's a lot of work, especially as a self-published author, because you not only have to write a good story, you've got to then market it. But thankfully, I'm in a time when there are loads of tools to help you do that. But unfortunately, I missed the golden age of self-publishing, which was probably around 2011 or so, where you could write a book, you could do some advertising on Amazon and Facebook, and it would get loads of readers. Those days are definitely gone, and you have to work a lot harder, a lot harder.
Because it's easier to publish a book these days, but the competition is high as well. So it's,
competition is high, and there's still, a bit of a snobbery about self-publishing, despite the fact that, there are so many amazing, self-published authors out there. With my first book, I won 2 awards with it, and well, I can't say it, but some of my other books are up for awards right now, but I can't announce that. But it's hard. It's hard finding your space and your reader. But I think that, even in the self-publishing space, I'm known for my marketing. It's something I've always, as a photographer, I was known for my marketing, and the quality products, obviously, but of course. It's definitely something that has put me in good stead.
I just wonder, you mentioned that the traditional publishing was a painful process. Why was that? What was the painful?
So, I'll tell you what's going on now with my book. So I've written a really commercial rom-com. It is so of the moment. It is it should land somewhere, and my agent sent it out to the first round of publishers in the UK and the US. And we had some strong interest early on, so it was very exciting. We were like, wow, it's in the market right now. It's really, different to get that kind of interest so early. And one of the big 5, she was telling my agent that she couldn't stop thinking about the book, and I was a massively talented author, and she was talking about preempts, which is when you make a big offer for a book to kind of take it off the market. And we were expecting an offer on the Wednesday, and on the Friday before, she sent an email pulling out. She just had this editorial comment, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, I've decided not to go for it because of this." And I've had that 2 more times now in America as well. And it is like, I've shed a lot of tears over this. A lot of tears.
I would.
Because, it's your baby, and you want it to work, because even as a self-published author, it is really hard for me to get the kind of distribution, the kind of breadth of client or reader, that a traditional publisher could get. So I kind of see myself as being a hybrid author, where you've got some self-published, some trad published. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually rewriting parts of the book to fit it into the mold of what they're looking for. Because if I were self-publish this, I could say, okay, it's fine as it is, and it would do really well. It's a great book as it is. But I think that if I really want to make a run of this trad pub route, then I have to make the changes that they're asking for. So I'm in the middle of rewrites right now. It's working. It's fine. I can see how it is actually strengthening the story. Annoyingly, she wasn't wrong.
That's annoying,
But it's up to me to fix it now.
I was going to ask you, so you've had some really high moments, right? Within all of your career choices that you've made, you've had some really high moments and things. And I appreciate, you've already kind of mentioned about how when you were doing the photography bit, you got your husband on board. He was happy to be on board. You worked well together. You moved. The greats are great. What happens when things aren't going great? What's your go-to? I'm trying not to push you too hard and stuff on this, because everybody has a coping mechanism for a certain thing that they kind of go through. What do you feel is your kind of? We know that your husband's your support structure in a way, but what do you do? What's your thing that you would recommend maybe other people to kind of look into that could help other people if they have the low moments as well as the,
and they feel like giving up, because that's the big thing.
Oh God, well, I think taking a step back is always a good idea. You know, like if it's getting too much, just drop everything. You know, like
Okay.
I found that while I was writing this book now, you know, at the second half of last year, I found the marketing was too much. So I
Right.
came completely off of social media for like 4 or 5 months, 4 or 5 months,
Mhm.
because it was just putting me over the edge. And I
Yeah.
just wanted to focus on the book. And I think, again, because of my neurodiversity, I think I was so focused on the book, I just couldn't handle
Too
anything
much.
else.
Yeah.
Because you know something's got to give because I still have 2 children that I'm raising, you
Yeah.
know, and,
Yeah.
and a family I need to feed and all this kind of stuff. So there's lots of stuff on the plate. But I think that looking at everything and deciding what you can walk away from for a bit for your
Mhm.
mental health is important. Going on lots of walks. Whenever
Mhm.
I'm stuck, I always find that going on a walk is the thing that unblocks things, you know, whether
Yeah.
it's, you know, writing the book or anything else. I find nature is very helpful.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, and also I go to the movies.
Oh,
Yeah. It's an
I got
escape. Yeah.
I've just turned 50, so so I now have bought myself a membership to the Curzon.
Yeah.
okay.
And you know, I think sometimes just escaping is okay, and you know, reading books to escape
Mm.
is okay, and going to the movies to
Yeah.
escape is okay, and you know, we all need that
Yeah.
sort of thing. And I mean, especially now, I'd say there's a lot going on social media and in the world that is very hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And again, you got to take that
Yeah.
step back and, you know, ask yourself, do I need to know the news as it's happening, you know,
Yeah.
or can I find out 2 days later when it's kind of been parsed by the media?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it allows you to, because when you take a breather, then that's when the greatest ideas now come, or
Yeah.
solutions, no? Because when you're stressed or overstimulated, then you just create more stress. Whatever decision you make, no, or action you take, it's just more stress.
Yeah.
So I love that you said that. It's so important to.
And also, I think identifying the thing that's causing you the stress or that's
Yeah.
blocking you. So, like after I finished writing this book in December, um, I was having trouble thinking of what I wanted to write next.
Mhm.
Mm.
And I felt a little bit blocked about it. And I think I was blocked because I was so obsessed with, well, what is TradPub going to want me to write next? What is TradPub going to want?
Right.
Instead of
Yeah.
just thinking about what story I wanted to write, which is what being self-published is you don't have a lot of rigid, you know. So I just kind of said, okay, well, take TradPub off the table. Just what would you write if you were just writing what you wanted to write? And that
Yeah.
kind of unblocked me. And I was about
Mm.
to start writing that book when I
Yeah.
realized I had to do rewrites on the old book. So I've had to kind of shelve that and go
Yeah.
back again. But you know, it's all part of the process.
Mm. And I also like it, like you mentioned, that some things didn't go the way you wanted, or like the Harry Potter book that just that came up out at the time that it did.
Yeah,
Now you look back and you think perhaps like, thank God, no,
yeah,
it
yeah.
happened the way it did, no. So sometimes I just think it's important to have the trust in the process, no,
Mm,
and in life
yeah.
that it supports you.
And
Yeah.
trust in yourself. I mean, my husband has definitely noticed some patterns with his creative life. To the point where, like, when I'm having my breakdown phase, he's just like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I'm like, why are you saying anything to, you know, make me feel better? He's like, okay, yeah, fine. He actually, so this is a funny story. The other night, the poor man walked into the house. He works, you know, he's just changed jobs, working very hard. And he walked into the house and he was immediately, my daughter was on him with some problems she was having, and my son was having some problems. And I was in a mess because it was at the point where I was, you know, had another rejection and I was coming to the decision that I needed to do the rewrites. And so I was a mess over that because I didn't know if I was going to be able to do what they wanted me to do. And da, 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 da. And my husband is just like, oh, you know, okay, his head is spinning. And he kind of listened to me, but he didn't kind of engage the way I wanted him to. So, and we were watching a new show called Running Point on Netflix. And
Yeah.
one of the characters in that was having a little mini breakdown, and her fiance says just the right thing. And I turned to him
Yeah.
and I hit him, and I'm like, you see? The next morning, I get a message from him. And he basically wrote a prompt for Chat GPT saying, last night, my wife was feeling like this. She's a writer and da 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 da, and my kids were like this, and then we were watching a TV show and da 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 da. Can you write something for me? Like I have a team of script writers that are writing my lines for me to make my wife feel better.
My
He was like,
God.
sure.
You know what?
So it wrote him a speech.
So much. I love your husband.
I think your
He's
husband.
amazing.
I think your husband is a very, very clever
man.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ChatGPT saved my marriage, I guess. Yeah.
Now Yao opened.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
This is
Show
so.
it to the camera.
No, because this is really.
No, I saw Yao's
I don't know whether you'll be able to see.
GTP history. Where is it?
It's there. So
And it
last
was
month.
all.
Last
Oh
month.
yeah, all about
You can't really see it and
Can you
stuff.
see?
Man. Oh. Dealing with nagging spouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it and I had to laugh. I was like, what the hell?
It was literally I saw something and then I just thought because I was looking into AI and stuff anyway, and I was I just thought, what would it bring up?
What would it say?
What would it come up with? And then,
And was it helpful?
Yeah, was it?
No, it all came from me. It all came from me.
That GPT marriage counseling service. Yeah.
Exactly. No,
It's just
I
so
thought it was
funny.
brilliant. When you said that, I thought that's amazing.
Yeah, and after he said it, what happened?
I smiled and I laughed. He was at work when he said it to me, but I was feeling better already anyway, because as he knew I would, because I woke up with new purpose and I was like, today's a new day. And I started working on the rewrite, and then he sent that to me and I was like, yeah, okay. And I know I have these creative meltdowns,
Okay.
It's what you do.
And I love it that you say that you admit, like, I'm a human as well, and we all have these low moments because it's a part of it. So I'm glad that we talked about this.
Yeah.
It's like yesterday, me and Yao had kind of conversation that left him with a headache.
No.
So
I went straight back to GPT. So sorry.
What would you say if?
I think we're gonna rely on it way too much eventually, no? Because now when I write an email, it depends who it is for, like something very official, I automatically just get the GTP to check grammar for me, and I don't want to do that because then you stop thinking,
But I think we just use what we can, right? We use whatever is available.
It's about balance. I'm just curious, do some writers use AI for writing?
Yeah. Well, there's degrees of that. There's using it for help and there's using it for writing,
Yes.
And yes, there are people who, write books through
But you can
AI
tell
and sell it.
Energy.
You can tell, but AI is getting better and better. I use it for things like brainstorming backstory for people, because it's so helpful, and for doing
100%.
Yeah.
Brainstorming.
For doing research, it can take you ages to find all these different things, or you just ask the ChatGPT and it kind of gives it to you in a bite.
Yes, that's true.
It's very, very useful. And then yes, a lot of people use it for example, for marketing. So for putting in like a few chapters of their book and saying, okay, write 100 social media hook lines from this, or maybe 3 of them might be good, and you might get 97 crap ones, but I think that's more and more it's becoming more used. But
depends how people use it. It's like with anything, how we use money is neutral, but depends how you use it.
And you can use it to, like you said, to check for grammar and for spelling and that kind of stuff. So there's already products out there that do that.
Yeah, exactly. So perhaps the last question on the subject for me would be pros and cons to changing careers or not staying in one job for the whole life, because some people just do one thing forever. Some because of they're comfortable with it, and that's fine. But many are not comfortable with it and they are scared. Yeah. So how do you see it?
I think the scariest thing is when you think you don't have options. And there are always options. They might just be hard to admit because you might be taking a dip in pay. it's also can be daunting to think about starting again from the bottom of a new career. But
Yeah.
I think that ultimately, if you are unhappy in what you are doing, then that bleeds into every part of your life. And you only have one life.
Yeah.
So, there are things that are more important than money. As long as you can do something that obviously does pay your bills and,
course.
but also you need to look at your life and decide what kind of things you can cut out. I think that we live in a very consumerist society, and when I think about all the things that I fritter spended on in the first half of my life, instead of putting it into pension plans and saving it, it makes me sick. But now I think in the second act or fifth act, however many acts I've had, I feel like I understand a lot more about what I do really need and what I don't need in my life and what's important.
And I'm glad you mentioned your age as well. I'm very open about age, but some people, so I'm glad you mentioned it, because some people might feel, oh, I'm too old to, unless you're 20, you feel you're too old to make a change. It's not the case. It's not the case. It's never too old. You can be 70 and start.
I started writing my first book, I guess I was around 45. And I know authors who have published in their 60s, 70s. Bonnie Garmis, who wrote Lessons in Chemistry, is in her 60s.
I just got that book, yeah.
Yeah, in their 60s.
Who is to say when it's too late? Yeah, it's just up to.
Never too late. It's never too late.
Or too soon.
Exactly. Either of those.
It's nice. It's nice when you find your calling and things, the things that really makes you happy inside, that you really want to kind of share with. Sometimes, like you say, sometimes the world may not be ready for that, but you never know when. If you still do that, that's there for.
Stop you.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, I think when you start something, you also don't have to think, oh, this is me done for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm on my third career now. Nothing is permanent.
Yeah, sometimes we overthink, like, oh, if I do this, but you go to places you have no idea, you can't have an idea how it's gonna unfold. Yeah.
No, I mean, if you had told me in 2011 that I was going to stop being a photographer in that decade, I would have been like, no, you're crazy. I love this.
Yeah.
But you get tired of the hustle. So you switch it for a different hustle.
That's what you love.
And I love that. So now I would just like to ask or mention of course, your famous dancing video. We can't, wedding video, sorry. We can't not mention that because it's a big part of your story. As I mentioned at the beginning, Julia kind of accidentally went viral on YouTube, and I love that accidentally part, and ended up on Oprah with Patrick Swayze. So I cannot ask about this experience. Come on, yes.
It's a good story. It's a good story. Yeah. So what happened is when my husband and I got married in 2005, we did the dance from Dirty Dancing as our first dance. And, we had our friend choreographed it for us, and it took us about 6 months to get it all down and whatnot. We were getting married at a little castle in Wales. So we did the dance and we recorded it because, as I said, my husband was getting into film and TV at the time. So we had, a couple cameras on it, and my husband edited it all together. Anyway, we didn't do anything with that video for about 2 years. And then YouTube came along and we thought, oh, let's just stick it on there, because we had friends in America who couldn't come to the wedding. And so they wanted to see the dance. So we just stuck it up. And and off it went. And then the next day we get a call from the Metro, which is a free newspaper in London. And they're like, oh, we saw your dance. We'd love to interview you for the paper. So we were like, oh, yeah, okay. So we gave the interview. We had about 200 views at that point. We were like, oh, gosh. Okay.
At the time, it was, yes.
So we did the interview. And the next day, my husband got on the tube and he went to go get the Metro, and there were no Metros left. So he bought a Times and he got on the tube, and we were expecting like a column inch, nothing much, And he's sitting there, he's reading his Times, and he just looks over at the lady next to him, and she's reading the Metro, and there's an entire page. The whole third page. I was a page 3 girl. The whole page 3 was was about our dance. Okay.
Yeah.
And so he just looks at her and he's like, can I switch papers with you? And she's like, why? And he's like, because that's me. And she's like, yeah, so she gives him the paper. He gets off at the next stop to call me. And he's like, Julia, you're never going to believe this. And I said, no, you're not going to believe this. Richard and Judy have just called. They want us to come on.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the beginning of the media storm that was our first dance. So at the same time, it also started a worldwide trend in choreographed first dances. When we typed ourselves into the internet, we found stories about us in Pakistan, Australia, like all over the world.
Wow.
And then what happened? We were on like BBC, we were on Sky, ITV, all kinds of stuff. And then we went to Australia, and while we were there, our friend happened to be in the media, and she told the local TV station we were there. So we went on Australian TV, and it was all sort of dying down. And then we decided to go to holiday in Greece with the meager earnings from our media appearances. And when I landed, I turned my phone on, and there was a message from a producer from the Oprah Winfrey Show.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, we want to fly you to Chicago because we're doing a whole show about YouTube, and we've got the people who started YouTube on and all kinds of stuff. And so we're like, okay, so we flew out, and my dad and my stepmother flew out as well, and so they were in the audience. And on the day we had to relearn the dance. They're like, oh, just relearn the first half of the dance. It's fine, And we're like, okay, but why do you just want the first half? It's like the second half that's the showstopper. And so we did, and we got on stage with Oprah, and she's talking to us, and then she's like, but we want to see the dance. So we start doing the dance, and the audience is sort of politely clapping along. They're like, yeah. Let me be clear, we are not great dancers. It's not
I've seen the video. I've seen the video,
are.
and used to like your initial kind of the wedding thing.
Yeah.
You are great. Yeah.
Oh, that's very good. It's much easier to learn a dance than to learn two, I can say. But anyway, so we start doing the dance. Audience is clapping along nicely, and then suddenly they just start going crazy. And I look over my husband's shoulder, and Patrick Swayze is walking towards me.
Oh my!
And I'm just like, oh my God. And he comes over and he's like, can I cut in? So I pushed my husband out of the way. I'm like, take me. And so, he's throwing me around, and I'm just like, oh. And it was one of the best moments of my life. But my husband is not a shrinking wallflower. So he was waiting patiently on the side. And when Patrick finished with me, my husband yells across the stage to him. He goes, Patrick, let's do the lift. So Patrick Swayze goes down on his knees, and my husband runs at him, all 13 stone.
Get in!
And jumps into Patrick Swayze's arms. Of course, he's on the ground. So he just barely got off the ground, and back down again. But I mean, it was
God.
it was a moment. It was a moment.
How does it feel, first of all, to see Oprah, speak to her, and then Patrick? Oh my God.
I know, it was just like my poor little heart couldn't take all this excitement. And he was such a lovely man. I mean, this was before the diagnosis about his pancreatic cancer came out. And at the time, he was saying he was planning to come to London to star in Carousel. And he was like, yeah, let's do dinner, when I'm over there. And he was a genuine guy. And I heartily believe that we would have had dinner with him when he was in London. But of course, he never came because he was diagnosed and then died a couple of years later. So it was very sad.
You can feel the person's energy, because I've never met him, but you feel he was such a lovely and genuine, down-to-earth guy. Now you can just see it without meeting the person. I'm glad you second that, because
no, he definitely was.
So you had a chance to chat with them after as well.
Off camera, which was good.
Amazing. Oh, because many celebrities would be just like, oh, who are you? That kind of thing.
No, I mean, we never would have. Why would we think Patrick Swayze would come on the Oprah show to meet us? And he was saying that he saw our dance, and he's like, I could just feel the heart in it. And I was just like, oh yeah, we love you. I love you.
What's your husband's name, if you don't mind me asking?
James.
I would have turned around if nobody puts James in a corner or something.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going on.
No, but it's brilliant.
But yeah, if you go on YouTube and you search for James and Julia First Dance, it should come up. Yeah. And we also did a clip on our page called The Dirty Dancers, which showed all of the media that we did. And another thing that we put on there was actually a copy of our wedding invite. Because for our wedding invitation, what we did was have you ever seen the movie Cinema Paradiso?
I haven't.
Oh, okay. That's what you need to do. It is one of the best romances ever, and best films. And there's a part where they splice together loads of kisses from different films. So that's what we did. We spliced together the kisses from loads of our favorite films for our wedding invitation, and that's on our YouTube channel as well.
Wow.
So yeah,
there's definitely a creative side to your whole family. And
oh my God, you should see our Christmas cards.
saw the Game of Thrones one, right? I saw that, and it's really good.
My husband was in makeup for 7 hours to become the Night King. He literally wore it for 15 minutes, and then it came right back off again.
Absolutely amazing. It's definitely.
This is.
We'll put some of these links in the
100%.
It's absolutely amazing.
And obviously, put some links to my books as well, please.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about that. That goes without question. Don't worry about that.
I was going to say that this is living the life, This is living the life.
Yeah.
Well, we just do what is genuinely in our hearts. We're creative people. We started doing these creative Christmas cards, for example, after my daughter was born. And it just kept going and going and going. And the thing that we loved the most about them was that they put smiles on people's faces every Christmas. We're not doing them right now because they were really expensive. We needed a break,
How old are your children, if you don't mind?
My son is 8 and my daughter is 13. So yeah. And my daughter says she has PTSD from
your stuff.
From all the makeup and the photo shoots from when she was younger. So
okay. I think we can wrap it up here. Is there anything we haven't asked that you would like to share?
No, I think we've covered loads. The only thing I would ask of people is to give my books a try. They're all many rom-coms, like I said, award-winning, and self-published authors. We need a little leg up. So
help each other. Yeah. We're definitely getting the books. That goes without saying.
Yeah.
And if I say it's been a pleasure, it doesn't give it justice, I'd say. No. It's been,
a great way to celebrate the anniversary, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're in the right energy now. We have in the right mindset after speaking to you, and the world needs more people like you who just spread the positive energy and joy and motivation, because you motivated, because the main subject was changing careers, but I think you motivated people on many more levels than just that, quote unquote. And for that I salute you. Yeah, and I really mean it.
Thank you.
I've got nothing else to say on top of that.
Ask ChatGPT.
Exactly.
Well, how should I end the podcast episode?
No, exactly.
Okay, brilliant. So if you enjoyed this episode, please share it far and wide. And because we have some friends who told me, we love your podcast, and asked, and have you left a review? Have you shared it? No. So this is a message to our dear friends. Just leave a review or share it. Yeah. Share it, leave a review, follow, anything that you can do to support and stuff. That's all we want. We want to get the positive messages out there to the wider world. Exactly. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. That was brilliant. Thank you, Julia. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for having me on.
And now you cut off my flow. I was in the flow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How dare you? Anyway, have a good 2 weeks and see you again in hopefully the same nice positive energy. Bye.
Take care, everybody. Thanks.